Here we are with Jordan Harry, the head of PR at Phoenix Community Capital. We are at the Grid Daily House here in Austin at Consensus CoinDesk event, and we're so excited to have you here, Jordan. What I'd like to do is start a little bit about your background, and then we can get into the topic that we're going to discuss today, which is the philosophy of wealth and what that actually really means. So, Jordan, please introduce yourself. I mean, we've had some time together, but I'd like the audience to hear who you are and why you exist.
Excellent. So the elephant in the room is my British accent here from the UK. And it's an absolute honour to be out here with yourself, Karim, and all the beautiful work that you're doing in the space. So myself, a mere 7 years ago, I was teaching people how to read faster and remember more. I ran a speed reading and memory training company, all because I can articulate myself. I used to have a lisp, which you probably find hard to believe now because I speak so posh. And that's thanks to my mum. However, when the pandemic hit, it was a real wake-up call for me because I was truly financially illiterate. Especially my mindset about money was completely wrong. It was this idea that rich people are evil and no human wants to become something they think's evil. So I was never going to become rich. So the pandemic grounded me and it taught me to find other ways to create this resource called money. And thankfully, a friend of mine put me onto XRP. That was my gateway into crypto. But what I realized was, although crypto is going to create this transfer of wealth, sadly, very few people will stay and truly reap the rewards from this space because, as we know, rich is loud, wealth is quiet. It isn't sexy. And it's conversations like this where you'll understand what it takes to build wealth. So I'm hoping today on this podcast that anyone listening becomes 1% better in terms of creating wealth.
1% better is a philosophy that a few people know about, but I think more people should ascribe to that. So when we talk about 1% better, is it 1% better per day, 1% better per year? What does that really mean? How do you become 1% better as an individual?
I wish I saw these questions before. Wow. Okay. Karim, I like it because you're forcing me to go deeper into my subconscious to really dig out something truly unique, which is for myself, I schedule every day as if this was going to be my dream day. Now, at the end of the day, I may have done half my run, eaten one banana when I was meant to eat two, so on and so forth. So at the end of the day, I probably hit maybe 51% of my dream day. That would have made me 1% better. Instead of beating myself up about, I should have completed that run. Instead, touch wood, tomorrow will be a new day. And if I'm lucky enough to rise in the morning, I have an opportunity to be 52% better, to complete that run. And so one thing that I do, and I haven't shared this with you off air actually, which is at night, I tell myself, and I truly believe it, that I'm going to rest to die now. So when I go to sleep, I truly believe, okay, today was done. And what's powerful about that, Karim, is two things. Number one is you look back on the day you just had and you say to yourself, what would I have done differently? And then number two is when you wake up in the morning, you've already won because you already said to yourself, hey,
yes,
this is over. So when you do wake up in the morning and at the beginning, and there'll be days where you truly don't believe it and you feel pretty pooey, you have to say to yourself, I've got another chance now to rectify.
So this is quite interesting. So actually, your night or the following day begins with the night that you are in previously. So we have to be aware of the night that is preceding the day, and so it sort of leads into each other that every day and every night you're living your very best life to make sure that the next day is great.
Correct.
Great. So I'm really so. When we look at your personal philosophy and then we look at the philosophy of wealth and the philosophy of living your best life, you've ascribed to the fact that you're trying to make improvements in your personal life every day. Let's relate that a little bit to what you do on a regular basis as a day job, which is Phoenix Community Capital. Tell us a little bit more about that institution, what it does, how it executes on its business model, and what you see happening there.
Excellent. And it's something close to my heart because in investing, we're taught to diversify. but also be careful not to over diversify. Right? If you spread £1,000 across 6 different opportunities, even if one takes off, it's still not life changing. Of course, that's subjective. So that's one principle we're all taught, is to diversify. And in crypto, many of us think we're diversified if we hold XLM and XRP, because we're in two different digital assets. But still, that's one asset class, which is under the umbrella of cryptocurrency. So if the cryptocurrency market is down, as we're experiencing right now, so too is 100% or 90% of your net worth. So at PCC, we realized that one of the biggest problems crypto investors face is diversification, especially if they're not an accredited investor yet. So we help investors in crypto diversify their portfolio into real-world assets like hotels, banks, with their £100 or £1,000. And by investing on our platform, they then get paid out on a monthly basis through an airdrop from the profits of those real-world assets.
Oh, good. So you're actually investing in real-life opportunities, yes, and you expose these opportunities to your investors, and so they can diversify their holdings. Mm-hmm. That's a great philosophy. I mean, we look at the market today, and a lot of people are crying because they've lost a significant amount of wealth, whether it's in the public markets or in the crypto markets. And what you're suggesting here is folks should think about how they're investing and the purpose of their investment strategies to get the best out of what they do. In your community that you deal with, so what we'd like to do is touch on, you're in Europe, London specifically, or England now, and you're visiting the US. How would you compare the investors that exist in the US as opposed to the investors that exist globally? Is there a difference?
It's difficult for me to answer that because I have to be aware of my own confirmation bias, as we were talking about yesterday, which is my ecosystem is surrounded by US investors. My body clock runs on Eastern time in the UK. Yeah. So the number one thing we notice in the UK is, although we're a smaller country, I guess this paves way for my answer, there is less of a community when it comes to investing full stop. It is all centralized in London, and if you're not in London, there's nothing for you. So it's very lonely, which crypto in general is lonely. But in the UK, you really are part of a minority. And then if we look at, okay, we found a crypto investor in the UK, what are their mindsets? We understand in the UK, and this is a sweeping statement, so I could be wrong, that our investment decisions and strategies are not determined by regulation, government control, and that in some sense, we have true autonomy with what we do. I mean, we don't have, again, sweeping statement, any restrictions on what assets we can buy. I was having a conversation yesterday, and apparently, correct me, Karim, if I'm wrong, Texas is the only state where you can buy XRP. I don't know if they were over-exaggerating, but it must be one of the few in the US.
No, you can buy XRP anywhere you want. Mm-hmm. So that's not it. Texas may have a lot of people invested in XRP, but we see globally a lot of folks invested in XRP. Mm-hmm. If you look at Asia and
in the US, I meant with the exchanges delisting it.
I mean, what we have found is when Ripple, the parent company, went into the issue with the SEC, and which they're still hoping to rectify soon, a lot of the exchanges sort of like diminished their availability or eliminated the availability to a lot of investors, the opportunity for XRP. One of our strategic partners, Uphold, the wallet, continued to suggest that XRP was valuable and continued to have XRP. And then, obviously, with the Linqto platform, you can get involved with the infrastructure company, which is Ripple, mm-hmm. which you can only get currently effectively on the Linqto app, which is wonderful. So, we've seen a lot of upside on that, and there's a lot of believers in the whole infrastructure of XRP and what they're building for global transference of currency. So, no, it's available. Limited, and we have
limited
it,
to the better word. Yeah, we have less limitations in the UK. Right. Whilst I know here, there's a few more hoops you have to jump through.
So, having spoken to various people during this conference, some folks feel that they're a little late to the game if they're sort of middle-aged to later age and getting involved with the crypto and Web 3.0. blockchain and the metaverse, and they feel like they're behind the curve. And what's interesting to me is what you've done with StudyFast. Help me or help the audience understand how what you did at StudyFast enables people to learn more quickly.
So it all came from a personal pain, from not being able to speak correctly. And if you can't pronounce the words, well, you can't read the words. So I had a below average reading speed. So the average reading speed is 250 words per minute. Won't mean much to most people. So I went through my own journey and I managed to attain 1,400 words per minute. So nearly 7 times faster.
Incredible.
Thank you. So you think, wow, I have that superpower where I can read 7 times faster than the average person. And that does vary. If I'm reading about something I don't understand, I have to slow down. If I'm reading something about blockchain technology, well, I can stay at my 7 times faster speed. So when you put myself next to someone who can only read at 250 words per minute, in crypto and almost any industry, we feel time in the game equals success. It comes with, yes, of course, its own scars. So I used to look at the people that had 10 years experience, very few in the crypto space, and feel like an imposter. Imposter syndrome, this idea that you don't know as much as your peers. And what I realized that my mere 2 years in this space should be a badge of honor, because I've debatable learned and avoided many of the downfalls that the 10-year veteran has faced in a mere 2-year time period. And so I want anyone listening right now to feel that crypto is one of those unique beasts which it does not require you to have sweat equity over a long period of time. Don't get me wrong, the more money you have, the bigger the results are going to be next to someone who's in that same asset. But at the same time, as we talk about wealth, probably not on this podcast, is what's next.
Sure.
And that's a whole minefield in itself. So for anyone listening, certainly not too late as of this recording. And what I need you to keep in mind is don't look over your shoulder saying, I haven't got years experience.
So that's great. So if you can study faster, then you can catch up your learning curve much more quickly than if you didn't study fast. So that's a great takeaway from here. As you've spent the last 3 or 4 days here at Consensus CoinDesk, what are your impressions of the people around you, and what are they thinking about the next big thing or trends that we may be seeing over the next 12 to 24 months?
So from the people that I've spoken to already, and I would say it's almost a natural selection at this conference, right? The barrier to entry is you need to afford $1,000 ticket, right? So that already is a barrier to entry. So what does that mean is you're going to get a certain type of person attending this event. So already they've created or manufactured an audience which hopefully will be like-minded individuals. So everyone that I've met so far are not in a rush to sell what they're working on or build. Instead, what I truly get a feeling for, and I might be wrong, is people understand Consensus has created an environment where good people are. And from the Global Investor Conference, there was a gentleman called Golden. And he said, whenever I have the opportunity to be in a room with good people, I'm going to take it. And since walking around the past day, and it's been day 2, I've really got a sense of there's good people here. Some people may not have an objective, but that's okay, because they just know whether it's magic in the air, whether the law of attraction, whatever you believe in, there's good things that are coming from this conference.
Oh, great. So the other thing, you did a TEDx talk, and I noticed that you had like 3 million views on that. What was that topic?
How to read a book a day, which sounds...
How to be a what?
How to read a book a day.
How to read a book a day.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, my TED talk was 10 minutes long, so I recommend you go watch that and then come back with all your questions. So the journey was interesting, because at that point I hadn't taught anyone how to read faster, but I had gone through the journey, and my university grades did drop when I was reading a book a day, because it still took me 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right. And for some people, they go say, yeah, 2 hours is a long time. It is, because the average book would take you probably weeks, months, if not years, till you finished it. So I went through the process myself. I'd never given a public talk before, other than school presentations. Remember, I had a lisp. I was the kid who put his hand up in class and kids would laugh at him. So my teacher said, well, look, John, if you want to do this as a business, you need to be able to talk to people and you need to tell them how you did it.
Yeah.
And do it simply. And one piece of advice I'd love to give people listening right now, and it's almost not related to how to read a book a day, because you can go watch the video, is when it comes to public speaking, don't think that you have to stand up on stage and say all these big, long words. So that was a thing for me. Right? Here I am, 18 years of age. I had no beard. Arguably, I don't still now. And I thought that I had to prove that I was the authority. And if I wanted people to listen to me, I had to sound and look smart. What I realized was being mixed-raced, having tattoos, having hopefully a good sense of humor, was what made me different. And that alone, people would gravitate towards me. But what you have to make sure that if you want a message to spread wide and far, you have to use simple language. People already know you're the authority. You already have an interview, you're on stage. So you're in front of the audience. It's your job not to lose the audience, because if you confuse them, you'll lose them. So for anyone listening, if you're ever given a chance to speak in front of an audience, even one-to-one, and you want to impress someone, avoid using big words, although in crypto it's almost difficult. Yeah. Keep it simple if you want it to spread.
So, Jordan, I'm really, really happy that you were able to share your personal journey that led you to where you are at Phoenix Community Capital, for you to be able to engage with the larger, broader investment environment that you're helping and assisting manage their wealth, and hopefully creating wealth for generations to follow. That's an important thing. So I really appreciate that. As we close out this podcast, what is a couple of words in regards to the philosophy of wealth that you would like to share with the audience?
In terms of something for everyone to remember, which is, in Stoicism, there's a great saying, which is, think, act, and say as if you were to leave this earth right now. Let that guide everything you do. And so with your investment decisions, assume as you press enter that order that you're now going to die. Does your family know where your assets are? Do they know what to do with your assets when they get access to them? Consider your security whilst you're not there. And finally, understand being a Stoic is this whole idea of giving up instant gratification for long-term gain. It's as cliche as saying no to the Coke in the fridge and grabbing the water. It's the same with investing. Understand, look at your financial situation and say to yourself, do I need to touch this money now? And if I was to die today, would my family, would I be, well, you're already dead, would your family be okay? And so when you zoom out and you take that perspective, your investing strategy truly does change. At least it does for me.
Very good. Thank you so much. That was Jordan Harry, Head of PR at Phoenix Community Capital. Look them up if you want to get better, learn how to study faster, and keep things simple with a view of you're here right now making the best decisions possible to take care of yourself and your future and your family. Jordan Harry, thank you so much for joining us at this podcast today. Hopefully we'll see you soon again.
No doubt.
Bye. Thank you.